Hello everybody, this is Fiona with just a little outdoor video to demonstrate a lovely yoga pose for your back. Our house is a wee bit on the small room size, so to try and make a decent video so that you can see what I'm doing is a bit of a negotiation of a movement of a lot of furniture. So I found a sunny day and I'm opting to take this outside. So it's actually, the sun is nice and bright. The birdies are singing, and yeah, it's good bank holiday Monday. So what I'm going to do is, as you can see here, I've got my mat already here. So what we're going to do is do what they call a cat cow or an angry cat happy cat pose, and it's a great one for your back. It's a really nice gentle movement of the spine. Like I said before, you don't need any particular special equipment. A mat, a carpet will do, just something that so that your knees don't get sore. And if you find in doing this that it does make your knees a wee bit sore, please feel free to fold up a blanket and put it underneath your knees, okay? A couple of folds of it just to protect and give a little bit of padding underneath. Other than that, the only other thing I'm going to make reference to is the area that I spoke about in my day one offering is the area called the Mula Bandha area, which is from your belly button to the bottom of your pubic area. And just if you can engage that in this, it just adds another level to the pose. But you don't have to engage it if you don't want to. Try it and see how it feels. Okay, so coming up onto all fours, and what we're going to do is, the idea is your knee is in line with your hip and your knees are then equidistant underneath both of your hips, okay? And then we're going to come into what they call tabletop position. So I'd like you to spread your hands as wide, your fingers as wide as you possibly can, and just putting your weight onto that kind of part of your hand rather than the back of your hand, because it'll put a little weight onto your wrist. Okay, so your wrists are in line with your elbow, or in line with your shoulder, and the idea is in this position that you look like a tabletop. Now my top is a wee bit on the foldy downside, so just to show that the back should be straight, your chin is pointing towards your mat, and your gaze is just up, sort of above the top of your mat. So this helps to keep your spine straight from your tailbone through to the top of your head, or to the top of your neck. Okay, so just inhaling and exhaling here, and seeing, can you engage that Mula Bandha area, so it's a slight inward and upward pull of your lower abdomen, deep abdominal muscles. And then on the next inhalation, we're going to tip your belly down, bring your bum and your head up at the same time, so looking up, inhaling and exhaling and rounding your spine up. Inhaling, bringing your head and your bum up, and just doing this nicely with your own breath. Exhaling, and on each exhalation, really seeing, can you push up and round your back a little bit further. Inhaling, bum up, head up. Exhaling. Inhaling, looking up, and exhaling, rounding down. And then perhaps coming into a flat back into neutral or tabletop position. And this is a nice little exercise to do for your wrists. Now, if you have any issues with your wrist, please don't do this, or take it to whatever level you can. Even for those that have perhaps broken a wrist years ago, you can do this, but just take it easy. Do it. There's a difference between awareness and activating muscles and pain. So if you feel pain, please stop. Okay, so you can turn your hands out to the side, like so, keeping your fingers as widely spread as you can. And if that feels okay to you, even just for 1 second, trying to turn your hands backwards. Now, this used to really hurt me years ago when I was first doing it, but I'm quite used to doing it now, so It's a great one to do if you spend a lot of time sitting at a desk doing lots of repetitive work, sitting at a desk, or baking or whatever. Perhaps you're doing something repeated for a lengthy period of time. It's a nice way to waken up your wrists. Another one to do is just to move your hips in nice slow circles, forwards, backwards, and you'll notice while you're doing it that your wrists are going in circles too. So it's a good one for the knees if you don't have knee issues. It's a nice one to open up the hips and back to center, and then doing it in the opposite direction. And inhaling forward, exhaling, going back. Inhaling forward, exhaling, going back. And then coming back to center, and then we're going to take our right leg and bringing your toes to stretch out behind you, but not moving your body back. You're trying to keep your body in the same position and just stretching out through the heel of your right foot. So keeping your toes on the ground and pushing out through your heel. Back to center, doing it with the left leg. Inhaling and exhaling, bringing your knee back to center. Again with the right leg, pushing back into your heel, keeping your toes on the ground to start. Looking out, your gaze should be over your mat. And exhaling down, inhaling, stretching away. And exhaling down. The other one you can do beyond this, the next stage along, is to lift your right leg and bringing it back. Same idea, but lifting your toes up off the ground. I'm trying to see, can you bring up your left hand and stretching out through this. This is called, I like to call it super person pose rather than Superman. Inhaling and exhaling. Bring the hand down, the knee down. Switching to the other side, pushing out through your left leg first, then lifting it up, finding your balance, and lifting up through your right hand and stretching from your left leg through to the fingertips of your right hand. Bringing your hand down and bringing your knee down. And you can practice that as many times as you like. And of course, if you've never done this before, don't expect your balance to be absolutely perfect. It takes a little bit of practice, takes a little bit of effort, and it takes a little bit of trust. So even if you want to try and lift the leg up just a little bit to start, and then you can bring your hand in and bringing the leg down, leg back, and really pushing through the heel as if you had an imaginary wall behind you, and then bringing it down. So then to finish from here, what I like to do is to bring your knees wide on your mat and your big toes to touch, and pushing yourself back onto your heels to start, making that connection. This is child's pose, and pushing yourself forward with your hands and bringing your head to rest on your mat. Now if you find making that connection between your bum and your heels, you can take a blanket. I actually forgot to bring one outside with me. So we're just going to use my leg warmers and putting that underneath. You can use a cushion, you can use a rolled up pillow, you can use whatever. Don't make it hard, it's not a competition, it's about resting the lower back. And then pushing your hands forward, and a really nice one I find to do is really quite restful, is to bring both hands to rest underneath and resting your forehead on that. Child's pose, and just inhaling and exhaling. And as you exhale, just trying to see, can you soften a little bit more and let yourself just descend a little bit more to your mat or your carpet or your flooring, whatever it is that you're on. Inhaling and exhaling. Now I'm turning my head so you can hear me in the mic, but you can actually do that as well, so you can turn your head to the right and the left, and it's a lovely way to stretch out your neck. Doing it really, really gently. If you have any neck issues, always, please, always just go to whatever level is comfortable for you. So really allowing ourselves to rest. if I'm working one-to-one with clients and I'm working on their backs, when they get up off the table or before they get off the table, I would always instruct them to go back onto their knees and go into a version of child's pose just to help them relax their back. It's lovely for this lower part of your back. If you happen to own a small child that you can trust, you can get them to just sit on there. It's a really, really nice thing to do. Or put an added bit of weight on it. Could be a bag of flour, whatever. And it just helps you to really rest. And you don't have to then be quite so active in trying to push your bum back towards your heels. Okay? So inhaling and exhaling here. And just listening to the lovely birdies and feeling the sun upon my skin. I'll have a million more freckles. So we're coming up then back to tabletop position, and another nice one to stretch the lower back is to do down dog. So I'm going to show you a down dog, and then I'm going to show you another way of doing down dog if getting into the classic down dog pose is something that you feel that you can't do. Okay, so we're coming back into tabletop position, and what's really important here if you're going to do classic is to use this part of your hand like a horseshoe, yeah, so that your weight is on that and not on your wrist. For many years when doing down dog pose, I used to find it hurt my wrist, and I was in a yoga class one day and that's what I was advised to do, and once I drew my awareness to that area, I found it didn't hurt my wrist anymore. So to come up into down dog, you're going to lift up your bum and really pushing up into the back. I like to start up on my tippy toes. I'm pushing my hands back towards my back. Nice thing to do with down dog, especially if it's the first one you've done in a while, is just to bend your right knee and straighten your left leg, and then do the other side. And you'll feel the straight leg stretching out without it feeling like maybe perhaps too much restraint. Right and left. Let's go walk the dog. Oh, and it just feels so nice on your back. Inhaling and exhaling. So I'm just going to give you a quick demo of what you can do to get into dog by using a chair. So you can see this okay. So we're going to start with our feet here and our hands on the back of the chair. So if you were to imagine that this was an angle of the floor, then you're actually exactly in down dog. So the idea is you walk your feet back far enough that you can stretch your arms out. So your head is in between your shoulders and your back is flat. And it's a really nice way to stretch out your back and your shoulders. I would often do this when I'm actually making beds. I find it really, really nice to do, you know, when you put the sheet on. And if that feels really comfortable to you, but you're not really feeling terribly confident about reaching the floor, you can slide down the chair and you'll feel a nice little stretch all the way down the backs of your legs. So I've done yoga classes with people who wouldn't feel able to do a down dog on the floor, and within a few weeks of practicing this, well, maybe 6 weeks of practicing this, they got there. But you know what? There's nothing wrong with just staying here. This is quite a nice stretch of my back as well. I'm feeling very grounded through the sole four corners of my feet. And you can take it right and left and right and left, and then remaining stationary. And I'm going to just walk up the chair. And we're going to just come to a nice mountain pose with the four corners of your feet. So for those of you that may not have seen it before, I went through mountain pose on my first video. That's just a really nice grounding exercise. So I hope you enjoyed my little outdoor yoga. They're very simple things to try. Yoga is really for everybody, I thoroughly believe that, but it's really important that you go to a level that feels okay with you. There's a difference between awakening muscles and them shaking or trembling a little bit than pain, okay? So it's really important that you listen to your body and have awareness of how it feels to you. So it's nice to go nice and slow and to just practice it at your own pace with your own breath. And I believe sometimes making that 20 minutes, half an hour time for you to do a yoga practice, sometimes some people go, oh, I don't have that time, and sometimes I could be like that. So like I said, I like to practice a down dog when I'm making the beds. You can do it in your kitchen, you know, on the back of a chair. 5 minutes is better than not at all. 3 minutes is better than 5 than not at all. You know, don't feel that you have to have 45 minutes or an hour or 20 minutes even of a practice in order to achieve doing some kind of good practice for yourself. Okay, I hope you enjoyed it, and thank you for watching.